All right. Hello. Today I'm going to do a series of videos that help you go through the work of um, modeling a robot in polygon primitives, creating a hierarchy parenting system for it, then allowing to do a short, simple animation. This learning this process allows you to learn how to do simple polygon primitive modeling, how to set up a hierarchy and parent your objects so that you can animate them, and then going through the series of rendering and exporting. Okay, we'll do it one step at a time. First, I'm going to be navigating around Maya. In this tutorial, I'm not going to go over how to use a 3-button mouse or how to navigate in Maya. I'm just going to go over how to model the robot with polygon primitives. I do see I'm in the front view of my stage, and I see that I need to be in modeling on my tab here, and then my tab here needs to be polygon modeling. If I keep this, I'll see most of my primitives here. The truth is, if I go to create and I go to polygon primitives, I'll see that there are even more primitives that I can use. But I'm only going to really use the sphere and the cube right now. Okay, we're just going to use them multiple times. What I also see here is I have my outliner window and I have my stage, which is the perspective view. I also have the window here, which is channels, which I'm really not going to use that much right now, but I'm going to switch my view to my fore view so that I can see more. Okay, I can see my top view, my front view, my side view, my perspective view, which helps when I'm modeling so I can see multi-views. Another truism is this top view here, I'd rather switch it to the front view, panels, orthographic, because you'll notice that the front, side, and top are all orthographic. So I'm going to go to switch to front there, and I'm going to keep my mouse here and bring it down. That's not the most important thing I'm going to do today, but it's a nice little setup that I have for myself, okay? If you do everything out of just this view, it's okay, but you might find that you've placed things in places that you didn't, that's not the way you wanted it placed. So see how this went right back to the top? I'm going to switch that under panels, and I'm going to change that to front, and then I'm going to bring this down, okay? So I just do this so that I can see what's going on. First thing I'm going to get on my stage is a cube, okay? And I'm going to use my move tool. That move tool I'm going to bring up simply because that's going to serve as my head right now. From there, I'm going to go and get a sphere. That sphere is going to become the neck for my robot, okay? Now I have my front view here because it really is a nice view when I'm trying to model this type of model, trying to keep things in place. I'm also going to show you something here. If you continue to model this way with the sphere like this, that's fine. But I'm going to show you something that is really helpful. If I turn it, I'm going to have an opportunity for a better rotate when it's time for me to rotate. I'm also going to look at my channels now, because see how it says rotate Z 89.704? I really want this to be 90, and it will then have a nice set placement for my neck. I'm gonna scale it, but I wanted the rotation to all be aligned properly. Okay, so now I'm gonna scale it. So again, I have my move, my rotate, my scale, and I'm gonna just scale it from the center. So see how when I scale it, they're all scaled at the same amount of, at the same time. And then I'm gonna just put it here. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger because it is a little tiny. Okay. Now, once I've done that, I have my head and I have my neck. okay? This whole robot is going to be modeled off of cubes and spheres. So a lot of this stuff, I'm just going to duplicate this rather than going back up to the tab, okay? So now I want a chest. So I'm going to take my head, and duplicate is here. Edit duplicate. And notice the shortcut, which is Command D. I'm going to be using Command D for duplicate because I'm going to duplicate a lot, but it's under Edit Duplicate. Okay? So now I got my head selected. I'm going to duplicate it and bring it down. Notice how that duplicate command, when I do it, it duplicated it right inside or on top of the previous cube. And I just use my move tool and bring it down. I want to slightly change the chest so that one is a little bit wider than my head, right? And I might even want to make it a little bit more narrow, okay? So that it's easy to discern between the two, the head and the torso, okay? So now I have my torso. Now I'm going to do a pelvis. You can call it a trunk, a pelvis, duplicate. So I select it, I'm staying in object mode, and I've brought this down. So depending on if I want, for example, the hips or the pelvis to be wider than the shoulders, or sometimes even more narrow than the shoulders, that's up to me. I just want to be purposeful in my choice. I'm going to make the hips a little bit wider. Okay. Now I have a sphere already, and I'm going to duplicate it and use my move tool. Right now I'm in the scale tool, switch to my move tool, and I'm going to bring it down. And yes, that's going to be a waist joint, but I'm going to be calling this my core at some point. This nice little sphere right here is going to become my core or my root. Core and root are synonymous in this demo, okay? The term core or root are synonymous. So here I have this sphere. It's in the center. I can always zoom into my front view and see that, okay? Which is very helpful, which is why I have my front view here. And that joint will allow me to bend the torso. It'll allow me to bend this chest and neck and head forward and back. And I also need a joint in the same spot that will allow me to move my pelvis and my legs at the same time. I also need a core joint right here that allow me to move the whole body. Now, if that doesn't make sense right now, that's okay. It will make sense later. But right now, what I'm going to do is duplicate this joint or this sphere 2 more times so that I have 3 of these right here. So I duplicate it. I'll do it up here so you see me do it. I'll duplicate it once. So there's another one right inside of there, right on top of it. And I'll duplicate it again. So now I have 3 of those. Okay. I'm going to do my labeling after I build my stuff out. Okay. So now that I have that, and I'm happy with that, and we'll be going back to it shortly. I'm going to go ahead and start building out my shoulders. In order to build my shoulders, I need a sphere. And so I'll click back on my neck just so things are clearer. And I'm going to duplicate that. Now I bring that one out to my shoulder, to where I want my shoulder to be. Okay. Now I might want to bring it down here. So it's sort of mid, upper. It's really the whole point of this is to learn how to do some basic modeling. I'm just being careful the way I place it. I'm going to duplicate that shoulder and bring it over here. So that's my shoulder joint. You know, you can feel the shoulder joint that you have in your body. So you go, okay, so this is the joint. So now that I have one on the left and the right side of the robot, I'm going to begin to build the arms. And I think my pelvis is a really pretty wide. Although I like it, I think I'm going to just scale it in just a little bit. When I do the default pose, it's going to be out. And I'll show you what I mean shortly. So I have my head, I have my neck, I have my chest, I have two shoulder joints, and I have my root or core joints here, and I have my pelvis. So now let's build the arms. Okay. I'm going to use my chest, and I'm going to duplicate that and bring that over. Okay. I'm going to model it slightly by just scaling it from the center and then scaling it from the X origin axis, just so I can have sort of the arms a little bit skinnier than the chest. Okay, I could make it even more skinnier, but I didn't want to. Okay, I'm gonna bring in the upper arm a little bit because I don't want it to be that long. Okay, I'll bring it in a little bit more. Here we go. Okay. So now that I have that, I'll bring this over a little bit too, just because I'm working in front view, and the more I can see, the better. So you'll see me zoom in so I can make sure I'm getting what I wanted. Now, something I always explain is I could put in the skeleton system that Maya has. It's a little bit of a complex system, so that's why I like to start people off of just creating their own joints using spheres. It's just a particular choice, and it gives you some more time to do some simple modeling. So I have an upper arm for the right side of the robot. I'm going to duplicate it so I can put one on the left side. Okay, so you notice that I use those duplicates to then use on the other side. So at the end of the day, I'm really only modeling one half of the model, and I'm just duplicating the other half. I'm going to take that shoulder joint, and yes, you guessed it, I'm going to duplicate it because I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to duplicate it again. I'll duplicate it again and bring it over here. Okay, I'm staying again in an orthographic view here because I didn't want a three-dimensional space right now. I just wanted to keep it at X and Y, up and down and across. That's it. Okay. I'm going to duplicate this upper arm, duplicate, and put it here. I'm going to distinguish it from the upper. I'm going to distinguish the lower arm from the upper arm by reducing it and scale, like making it a little bit more skinny and a little bit longer, right? I'll bring it a little bit longer than that even. Okay. I'm gonna take my lower arm and duplicate it. And again, with my X axis, along my X axis, I'm gonna bring it over. Okay. Now that I have that, I'm gonna get that joint and duplicate it and put it here. This will become my wrist, right? Do the same to the other side. Duplicate, put it over here, okay? Then I'm going to take that lower arm and duplicate it and bring it over here. So again, I'm just going to scale it since it's supposed to be a hand. Just going to scale it to make it a little bit more smaller. This is when I'm going to go to my perspective mode. Take a look at that hand. So this is a short little stubby hand, but that's okay for what we're doing. I don't really need it to be more than that. Not for what we're doing right now. So we're going over simple basic things so that you can really begin to build the complexity. But I don't want to build the complexity all at once because it's going to be harder to understand. If you're able to comfortably follow along with me, then that's what I had in mind. So you begin to learn Maya and have some positive experiences. But we will get more and more complicated and complex. Okay. All right. So now I have my shoulder, my upper arm, my elbow, my lower arm, my wrist, my hand. That's exactly what I need. Okay. Again, I'm modeling this, but I'm ultimately going to animate it. Okay. And so I want to make sure I have my joints and what I'll call my flesh, the cubes. The cubes serve as my flesh. The spheres serve as my joints. Okay. And we're going to need that information later. So now that I have actually my whole upper body, I'm going to go ahead and do my lower body. Very, very similarly. So I'm going to click on my joint here, duplicate, and I'm going to bring it down. Okay. And then I'm going to duplicate that and bring it right across. And these will serve as my hips. Okay. Those are my hip joints. And now I need to go ahead and start building out my thighs and my legs, right? So I can start with a cube. I'm trying to determine now if I want to start with a primitive or use something I already have. So I'll use something I already have, which is my pelvis. And I'll bring it out and down. And I'm going to reshape it so that it's my leg. Okay, my leg's going to go downward, by the way. So I'm going to scale it. Because remember, I can move, scale, and rotate what I have. Okay. Give it a little bit of space. And then I'm going to scale it some more. Okay. I can scale it a little bit more, make it a little bit thicker and bring it down. So I'm just placing things and moving things. Okay. So I'm just blocking out this object, this character, this robot. I duplicated it again, put it on the other side. Okay. And actually, as I'm looking at this, and again, this is something I would do if I had drawn this out and everything. I think the thighs are a little bit thick, so I'm going to delete that. So I just select it and delete it. And I'm going to narrow one of them down a little bit like this. because I thought the thigh was really big. I thought it was competing with the size of the pelvis. So, and I didn't like that. So I just thinned it out a little bit more. I might even thin it out a little bit more. Okay. Now I have that. And now I'm going to duplicate it, use my move tool and bring it over. So it's a slight adjustment. So again, with this particular model, I'm just working from eyeballing it. If we were doing a serious model, this is meant to just get you up and running. But if we were doing a serious model, we would actually go through a series of process of design to design it and to implement that design. Here, we're doing a simple robot, and we're eyeballing most of it. Now, because I have to do my knees next, I could select one sphere, hold down the shift key and on my keyboard and select the other one, and then duplicate and bring them both down, right? I want to place them slightly different than what I see, but it's one way to get both spheres down at the same time, even if I'm just slightly moving it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to do the lower legs. And I'm just going to select the upper legs. I'll select one upper leg really and duplicate that one and bring it down. I still think my legs are a little bit um, disproportionate. So I think what I'll do is I'll delete that one and I'll reduce the size of this one. I just think it's a little bit too much. Sometimes it's important to kind of step back and look at what you're doing. And I'm going to just delete this one so that I can duplicate that one and have it the exact same. Okay. And then bring this up, the knee, and bring this up. So I'm going to have to zoom in to really look at what I'm doing here. But I was just sort of temporary placing that. Okay. I think that looks a little bit better. So now I'm going to duplicate one of the thighs and bring it down. And I'm going to scale it so that it's a little bit longer than the thigh. Going to duplicate that side, bring it over here. And again, I'm going to zoom in so I can see it a little bit more. Okay. And now I'm going to select the knees, hold down the shift to select the other one. And I'm going to duplicate them both and bring them down so that they become my ankles. Okay. I'm going to duplicate one leg and bring it down and scale it because I'm going to be making my foot, right, for the robot. Okay. Now for this next part of the scaling of the foot, I'm going to push it, I'm going to bring it to the side so that I can simply scale it so it doesn't look like my feet will just tip over. Okay. And if I'm happy with that, I'll duplicate it. That's not something I could see from my front orthographic view. And so here I am. Okay. So I have 2 feet. Okay. So now just like that, I've pretty much modeled everything that I need for this robot. I've modeled the neck and the head. I've modeled the chest. I've modeled even the core. The core has 3 spheres in there. I've modeled the pelvis, my shoulders, my upper arms, my elbows, my lower arms, my wrists, my hand. I've modeled my pelvis, my hips, my thighs, my knees, my legs or lower legs, and my ankles and my feet. Okay. So now all of that is modeled. I'm gonna pause this video. I'm gonna stop this video. The next video I do is gonna be about labeling and parenting. Okay, so I'll see you there. So practice this a bit. Make sure you're getting it. Really pay attention to that alignment, and I will pause this, stop this from now. I'll see you in the next video.